The Detroit Lions, our final team in the NFC North here, headlined, of course, by the pick. I think they got in trouble for racing the Aiden Hutchinson pick in so fast, but they did it. Pick 2, they selected Aiden Hutchinson. Then they traded back into the first round, or traded up in the first round to get Jameson Williams. I mean, those two alone, although Jameson Williams does not look very happy, the Lions are happy to have him in Detroit. They went out like thieves, basically, in that first round, just headlined by those two players alone. AJ, how did the overall draft look for the Detroit Lions?
And they did a good job. I think they did a good job, when you try to say words that actually come out correctly. The Lions are in that mix of the teams that were bottom feeders last season that came out and had a plan in the draft, and I think they executed it perfectly. Running that Aiden Hutchinson pickup was exactly how they said it would happen if he did not go first. They couldn't write the name. They probably had the name written down already. It was ready to run up there to put it through. Hometown kid, a guy who just was gangbusters last year with 15 sacks for the Michigan line. And then the movement, the aggression to jump up and go and get Jameson Williams at 12. We were talking about teams moving too far up. Like, I think it was the Kansas City Chiefs. We were saying to move from 29 all the way to like 10 or 11 to get a Jameson Williams. Well, then you see a team like Detroit do it. And they weren't scared to do it. They were like, this is the time we're going to go and start building our team and getting weapons. And they made it happen. My second favorite pick has to be Josh Pascal. And it has nothing to do with the production he's put on, has nothing to do with the fact that he's like this all-around great guy, this great player, but it shows that they attacked their need. They had no pressure last season. They get the number 2 pick in Aiden Hutchinson, and then they don't wait too long to go get a Josh Pascal, a guy who in Kentucky was one of their better people, very long, can get around the edge, can bend, and has a knack for the ball when he's getting there. I know you're not seeing on that play right there, but this guy was somebody who was a Darius Doinker, if you will. So I really like the fact that they attacked what they needed. We talked about this with a lot of the other teams over our draft recap, and they're just another team to add to the list that I think that did a fantastic job of attacking their needs.
Yeah. I mean, now we've talked about it before with like these teams not going for a quarterback in this draft, not investing a whole lot in a quarterback this draft, and instead building around the quarterback of the future, whoever it may be. I mean, they did still draft a quarterback, though. I mean, they ended up going after. Wait, did they draft a quarterback? Wait a second. I might be looking at the wrong team here. They didn't. I'm thinking of Matt Corral with the Panthers. Way ahead of the game here.
Way ahead of the game.
Way ahead. You look at the Detroit Lions, though, they are building around whoever may be the quarterback of the future for this team. You go up, and like you said, you go up and you're aggressive to go get Jameson Williams, who I did have as my number 1 wide receiver in this draft. So I love that pick, obviously. And then then you do everything else that they didn't. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, you cannot go wrong with Aiden Hutchinson. We talk about how he was the safest of the top two picks in Trayvon Walker or Aiden Hutchinson. I think the Detroit Lions did a phenomenal job in this draft.
Yeah, you guys kind of focused on the top end of their draft, and obviously the Aiden Hutchinson, Jameson Williams, and Josh Pascals of the world. I wasn't as high on trading up that high to get Jameson Williams, but when you're getting a talent like that, I mean, you're not going to give it anything but an A+, right? Arguably one of the best receivers in the draft. But I kind of wanted to focus in the middle rounds because I thought they got some good value, both with the safety and Kirby Joseph, who I was high on coming into the draft. We talked about him before, a guy who's 6'1", has really, really good range as a safety. You put him back there with the Tracy Walker now, he can track the ball. He finds a way to get his hands on the football. He's been very opportunistic during his time at Illinois. I thought that was a really, really good pick for them. Sometimes he gets overly aggressive, but again, I think sitting next to a Tracy Walker, that can be a guy that can kind of help him out as they kind of build up that back end. You hope that Jeff Okudah gets a little bit better this year and can kind of live up to that name that he was supposed to be coming out of the draft. So I thought Kirby Joseph was a nice pick in the 3rd round. And then the other guy for me was a Malcolm Rodriguez, who nobody really talked about on draft night. It was a 6th round pick. I thought it was a really, really good pick from Oklahoma State. Really, really good discipline and vision when he's playing against the run and pass concepts. He knows how to get in and out from shifting, from going backpedaling into his route to break on a football, or even come up to make a tackle. He plays fast coming downhill. I thought this is a player that, look, he might not come in right away and be some some guy. They got Anzalone there. They got Derek Barnes there. But I think coming in with Gerard Davis as kind of that depth piece and learning how to play the game, I think in a couple of years you could have a starter in the NFL for a long period of time. I really, really like what he did at Oklahoma State. I think he's a nice fit there. I think that's where I valued most from the Detroit draft was kind of in those middle rounds. You mentioned the Josh Pascal, and then you get, a Malcolm Rodriguez and a Kirby Joseph there. I really liked what they did. But for the most part, I've kind of harped on it forever. This is a mindset that Dan Campbell has that he's trying to implement with Detroit. I'm going to bring in my players that have my mindset, that want to win and are going to work hard doing it. I thought all the guys he drafted are high character guys. They all play with a certain level of passion. And if Jameson Williams can live up to what we all think he's going to be, then whenever they do go get their quarterback next year, it's going to be special to watch him and Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift. And that's going to be a potent offense.
Yeah, we talked earlier with Houston going after what they needed to fix the most, the way they get back into that defense with some solid players. The Lions are the same thought process. You talked about Malcolm Rodriguez in the middle rounds. I do like that pick. Another pick they went and got right after another linebacker in James Houston out of Jackson State. And I thought this was a really good pick for two reasons. First off, the production. In 2021, this man played 631 snaps. He had 75 pressures, had 18 quarterback hits and 20 sacks. I don't care if you're on a different level. It's not FBS. It's not Power 5. That's hard to do. Football is not an easy sport, and he was able to put that production up. The second reason is because he comes from good stock out of an HBCU, and we know how we've been focused on trying to really get those guys who are playing at HBCUs the spotlight that they deserve, and he did it underneath Deion Sanders, Mr. Primetime, showing that he is building a good breed coming out of Jackson State. James Houston from Jackson State, I think, has a chance. He has at least earned a chance to prove that he can do it at the next level. And I think the Lions is a good spot to do it because he's going to have a fair competition to get some playing time.
How much of that do you think it plays a factor into like these players? I mean, talk about him playing under Deion Sanders, and then in the 7th round, they take Chase Lucas, the cornerback out of Arizona State, who has been coached by Herm Edwards. These are big time. What used to be big time coaches and players in the NFL, now coaching these guys to be NFL stars. How much does that actually play into like a player's development, you think, Aaron?
Oh, it matters. I mean, when you're learning from people who have done it at a high level or have had success at a high level, it definitely is going to improve your game. But I think more so than anything, it's the character and relationships. So if I'm a Dan Campbell and I go to Deion and I'm like, hey, we're thinking about drafting this player, what kind of guy am I getting? Like, that's what they want to know most. Is this guy going to be coachable? Is this guy going to be able to adjust and learn on the fly and be open to different concepts? Same thing with Herm Edwards, who's known as kind of this hard-nosed, tough coach. If you're not willing to be coachable, Herm Edwards is not going to sign his name and say, yeah, this is a guy you want to take. So it definitely matters. And I think you see this all the time in relationships. We saw it with Pittsburgh drafting Cameron Hayward's little brother. Like, they have 3 sets of brothers that have played for their team now, because they want the guys that they know that they can count on. So in the NFL, it's just like any other job, right? When you go to hire somebody and somebody gives you a good reference, you're more likely to be hired. So it matters. I don't know if it always translates to on the field. Is this player going to be good? Who knows? But you know what kind of person, what kind of character you're getting. And I think that's been the focus for Dan Campbell since he's taken over is I want high character guys who are going to work hard. And I think I can maximize their potential if we get that kind of mentality. So good for the Lions. They continue to do it in the right way. And I think you're seeing the progress and the steps each time, right? Each event, whether it's the draft, free agency, whatever, Dan Campbell seems to be doing it right.
Moving in the right direction for the Detroit Lions. Let's take an overall look here at the NFC North final GPAs. And you have Green Bay at 3.49 as the second best, though, behind the Detroit Lions at 3.54. The worst, of course, being the Chicago Bears, unfortunately for Bears fans, at 2.72, and the Minnesota Vikings coming in at 3.19. Thoughts on those overall GPAs, gentlemen? AJ?
Just interested in the direction you decided to go with.
I was like, okay, well, like I brought up the Packers at 3.49, but it was the second best behind the Detroit Lions, and I was like, the worst though. Yeah, it's just I don't know.
Look, I don't know. We're gonna run into a situation here in the next year or so where I'm either gonna be on here celebrating my win for saying that Justin Fields is not going to be a good NFL quarterback. And the sad part is it's probably not even going to be his fault. But, this is what I said it, it had to do with Ohio State and all that. You look at him, you see flashes, but there's a chance that 2 years from now, we're like, hey, the Bears are looking for a new quarterback because Justin Fields can't get it done. And we're going to say he's a bust. Everybody's going to say, oh, he didn't live up to the hype. And it's probably not going to be his fault, which is a lot for me saying, because I never thought that he was going to be that good in the first place and all that. But I can't blame him right now. What they're doing in Chicago is just not helping him. Hopefully Eberflus gets it done, but it doesn't look promising right now. Darnell Mooney's your best receiver. No knock against him, but that's not a number one.
Nope. Poor Chicago Bears. But the rest of that, the Detroit Lions, I feel like this is a trend with all of our final GPAs. It's these historically bad teams now just moving in the right directions with 2 straight years of good drafting. You got the Jets, you got the Lions, you got the Jaguars, you got these teams now just 2 good years in a row with these drafts now going to start pushing themselves into the race, maybe not all the way at the top, but really fighting and getting their names out there and moving up. And then there's the Vikings and well, yeah.
Creepy as hell.
that laugh has taken a dramatic turn, just a drastic, just into a different.
I'm looking around for Pennywise, bro.
The NFC Championship game, Minnesota Vikings from 2021.
Oof! And if you don't get that joke, go back and watch. Well.
Nope.
Good luck finding it. Good luck finding it. It's from an old brand, but hey,
it's still on Facebook though. It's still
there.
It's still there.
Hey, you have to scroll through all of our Sac City content to find it, which would be nice. You could like, follow, share, click all that stuff too. Right there at the Sac City Pod, you can find it. If you scroll far enough, you might find some RCOD stuff, and you might understand where that laugh came from. And go buy a t-shirt while you're at it, while Vinny's throwing up the graphics. Buy a t-shirt, support the brand, because we doing it big, baby.